Greetings, King.
Positive energy in.
Positive energy. Part 7 Beyond Thought. Live sessions.
Nice.
Profound Author, aka Mr. Rich Lamar. How you doing, sir?
Mm. Doing great, man. In the midst of crisis, doing fine, and want to pass on the energy from the book because
Okay.
health starts with spirit and psychologically and biologically.
Okay. So,
You-
what we touching base on today, let's talk about righteousness. What's your definition of righteousness pertaining to this book?
Righteousness. Hmm. We hear this word a lot, often.
Yeah.
Uh, I see it as we, last week we touched on meditation and the chapter of meditation, and meditation is action. And in the book, meditation leads to righteousness because meditation is a righteous action. It's a complete action, meditation is. And so, uh, meditation is the right thing to do. It's the right approach to order and disorder. And in that action of righteousness is meditation and doing the right thing. And that is the definition. Uh, Doing the correct thing, the right thing, which is short word for righteousness, the righteousness in action of doing uh, the correct action.
Living right, right?
Yes, it's living right. So that means it's doing. Righteousness is doing, it's living right, doing the correct thing, the right thing.
So the word right means correct, and from the word righteous,
Yes,
right? Righteousness is whole, and wholeness means holy. Holy is wholeness of undivided, right? Love, truth, freedom, and inner peace. Holy, immeasurable, right? Is an extension of love. Immeasurable, unnameable, enlightenment. That is the untraceable energy of all righteous action. Want to
yes,
pick up on that?
yeah. It's when you talk about whole, the word holy comes from whole, which is the wholeness of existence, which is the action of the universe. So, I don't believe in belief or a God per se, but I say it so people, as a reference, so people know what I'm referring to. When I when people say God, God to me is the action of the wholeness, the whole movement of doing the right thing comes from the wholeness, which is holy, which is immeasurable. So I can't give God a name because it's unlimited. Names limited things, but when you discuss things, you use words. So the immeasurable wholeness. Okay, if when people come up to me, like a lot of Jehovah Witness come up to me and they say, "Hey, read this." I say, "What's this?" It's God's word, and read it. If you want to make it to heaven, and we're His messengers, and we're just passing the word. So I was like, "This is God's word." It's like, "Yes." I was like, "Well," he's like, "Yeah, it's God." I said, "Well, what's the action of God?" And they said, "Oh, well, the Passover," and they go through all of these things, and they have to go back to. They're like, "Wait, let me look at this. Just read this, and you'll find out." And I was like, "Well, is the word the actual action of anything? Is this book the actual God? No, but it's His word." I was like, "Well, the that's not alive. If God is if if you could put God in a book, then He's limited. And then they say, well, no, He created the earth in 6 days, and then He rested. I said, well, if He rested, He's limited because if something needs to rest, it could die. If something needs to rest, it could get sick. If something needs to rest, it could falter. If something needs to rest, that means it could destruct. It could dismantle. If if God is who you say He is, I was talking to the Jehovah Witness, and other religions say it too. If God created the world in 6 days and He needs to rest, then He's limited. So I don't refer to Him as a him and all and pertain to Him to a book, because if you just look at that story, Jermaine, He rested and then He did this, and it sounds like a man writing about another man, or a story that he wants people to convince people of.
And that's my action this whole time. Like, and then the nerve to tell you that these are his words when the words or whatever book you're reading from has a copyright, right? And then on top of that, it has been interpreted over 100 to 1,000 times. And why is it that it's the actual um click that's pretty much delivering the word? And why is it that this man don't have a book of his own? It's crazy. It's just like when people go to church per se. um Nobody gets the same thing when they read from this book, and it's the same exact narrative they're
Mhm.
ingesting and reflecting over and over again,
Right,
right? But
right.
it's delivered in a different way. So for me, what I get from that is you're manipulative, and the way you choose to use these words in whatever shape or form you use it, it's to benefit you.
Yeah.
But this is not about Jermaine, it's about Mr. Lamar. So continue, sir.
No, because that's the point. Because um, like I said, my book don't attack religion, and we don't attack religion on your platform. You know, just saying, look at this.
We
You
talk
know,
about it a
just
lot.
look. Right. We talk about it a lot, but basically we're saying what my book is saying. Just look at it. We're not saying it's right or wrong, but look at it. If you really look, do it make sense?
It's
Because
like a
I, you
storybook,
know,
like there's so much parables, man.
and it's a lot of stories, and my whole thing is, when I came out of my turmoil, and coming out of my turmoil, I rewrote, adjusted my memoirs and of this. I didn't plan on writing a book when I wrote this book. Early in my life, only thing I planned on was being a musician and having fun and with girls and with music and promoting uh, art to the people, and helping people feel great, and 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 speak through my lyrics. Then when all this happened to me in life, the deep things I looked at in life as an early age, and all my memoirs and things I used to write down, came into play. I was sick, overweight, just erectile dysfunction, diabetes, and all these diseases, and like I said, overweight. And then coming out of that through being touched by this through meditation, you know, I was like, whoa, let me just write this down, and I told the universe I'm going to help everybody who want to be helped, or who would like to listen to me, at least, because I know hurt and depression and disease doesn't discriminate. And but coming out of that, I didn't see any God or religion. I just seen this holy, immeasurable presence, existence of nature, and it just exposed all my disorder of what I was doing. And like I said, I wasn't planning on being uh, doing lectures and writing a book. If I did, I wouldn't have never been a part of uh, uh, hanging out with groupies and women and swinging and drinking and partying and none of that,
Hmm.
you know.
It's
And
kind
then
of
it was it.
it's kind of funny, King, because I was just talking to a friend a few minutes ago. I'm like, why is it that we see so many people pass before our eyes? Some from sickness, whether clogged artery, um, they go beyond at a young age. The heart attacks, the young people looking old, or the people within our family that has passed away, whether from cancer or other methods of unhealthy behaviors, right? And I'm looking at it and I'm saying to her, I'm like, um, why is it that we continue to go down the path? Yes, I said it, path.
Right.
Because that's how they're gonna get it.
Exactly.
Um, go down the path of destruction when we know these things are not right or righteous or healthy for us, but we consume it every day. And we have just seen our loved ones died from the same thing. So, what is it going to take for us to elevate beyond that prison or that mental roadblock within ourselves to change our ideologies and our health and become one with the universe, God, whatever you call it? However you depict it, whether it's a female or male, whatever works for you, whatever your vice is. At what point are we gonna make these adjustment and just flow like the sun rises every single day, the bird chirps, the trees grow? We're the only ones that came out of another essence and keep saying we were created versus we grow.
Yeah, and it hit me. It sat on my shoulder like a butterfly. Because I was deleting all of my conditioning of oh, that's God, believe that, you know, go to that school, go to church, go to the or you know, go to school, and then after you finish school, go to the military or go to college, get a business. And this is all that path. But the butterfly that sat on my shoulder was like, there's no path. Look around you. It's continual movement of doing the right thing. It's continual movement of righteousness. You're in a garden of life. It's beyond thought. And then I seen that thought was limited when I was beyond thought. But when I was in thought, I only thought I only seen thought was everything. But when I went beyond thought, I seen limitation. That's why I didn't like to name anything, and it showed me uh, the action of this righteousness of nature showed me that, that the language of nature is not in words. It's in movement of doing the right thing. It's constant movement of doing the right thing. I was aware of that. And this awareness took me beyond words, beyond language, beyond uh, thought. And I was looking around. I was like, yes, I see the bee going to the flower. I see the ant in fellowship with other thousands of ants. I see the bird flying. I don't see any conflict. I don't see any argument. I mean, you see different things going on, clashing, things happening, but you don't see any uh, anything deceptive going on, or if something came into a confrontation, it happened and it was over. It was, it's not like humans where it was a revenge factor in there. You know, every action I seen, from plant to animal to insect to feeling to weather, you seen things clash, but it was no action of animosity. There was no action of selfishness. It was just action of like common sense. You know, if something clashed, it had meaning to it. It was a means of survival. Not like humans, even sex with when I seen two grasshoppers having sex, or two birds, it was a means of survival and purpose and order. Not like humans where, you know, we we create all these things out of sex. We call it making love. We create pornography. I seen thought taking over everything in humanity, but thought, but things in nature moving beyond thought. So when they was having sex, or they was in the flower, or they was moving with nature, there was no there was no path, it was just a movement of survival and meaning. But in humanity, it was all thought just took over everything. Okay, sex is a great sensation. How about if I have two or three girls? How about if I have a car, or a shiny car, and do that? I started seeing all of this stuff.
You know, it's funny, and you emphasize beyond thought a lot, but I don't believe, because the reason I don't believe a lot of people are aware of it, right? So let me try to put it in a sensible aspect. For instance, take a river, right? Most humans will stay on the surface of that river, right? They will describe the current of that river. And there might be a waterfall, a drop off, which supposedly make this river dangerous, right? They will claim that this river has a path. And they will say, oh, it's a river, so it has fish, right? And they throw their raft on it. They ride from point A to point B, right? They get out of it. They hook up on their boat, whatever, and they go home. They go to sleep. And next week come, they might do it again. That's just surface level, right? They have yet to take a deeper look. Like, okay, the placement of the rocks, the moss, the algae at the bottom, the different life forms that's floating within it. You got your turtles, you may have your shrimps, you may have your crabs, so on and so forth. Like, they don't know how many species is within that river. They don't know they don't know the mile per hour that river is flowing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And within that river, you might have say your salmon going back upstream. That river, based on all the species that's within that river, is alkaline. There is no chemicals within it that's destroying it. The bear comes, he gathers food from that river. The eagle comes, he gets food from that river, or he gets food from that forest, right? The squirrels, they move along these trees, they collect their nuts, and so on and so on and so on. And within this forest, or wherever this is, you have your natural herbs that's growing from the earth, right? They're living for free. And here we are, destroyed a portion of this earth, create a city, put chemical base, running gas, moving cars in it, create pollutions. The
Right.
water that we're using is coming from a contained confinement. It's bleach. It has fluoride, rat poisoning, so on and so forth. The vegetables we're eating, pesticide. It's not raised healthy. It's not righteous, and we're content with that. We don't question that. Once in the blue, we might see the sunrise and we decide to take a picture versus sun gazing and truly basking in that ambiance of the universe. Like, oh, I call it a universe, you saying it's God. And we're playing with these words, these spells, grammar, grimoire, so on and so forth, but yet we're still on the fucking surface.
Yes. Yes. And why? Because you can't once you when some when you see the nature moving, and like last week we were talking about meditation. When you're meditating and you're going beyond thought, you're one with nature, and you you see awareness takes you beyond thought, and you're aware that nature is action. It's never static, and it's one holistic movement with the universe and your inner being. So the so-called God is inside of you, and you are a God. You're inwardly, and inwardly is your heart, and nature is you, which is one with the universe. This is holistic. So, in eating holistic and walking holistic, this is the right action. So, therefore, it's righteousness. And those three things never lie: universe, nature, and your inner being. The action of your body never lies to you. And we can't lie to it. But like you said, Jermaine, they look at this water surfacely, and they create a path out of it. Okay, I see this running water. Let me create plumbing and pipes, and let me create a path to water and build houses and create a path to each person's kitchen and bathroom and create a path down the street to the businesses and create another path. And they do the same thing with righteousness. Okay, this is the right thing to do. I found the truth. Now show let me show people how to look at the sun. Let me show people how to walk. You can't put a path to this, but they do it. They call it organized religion. And they say this is the truth. And the Christians say this is the truth. And Buddhists and Jewish people and Islamic people and Catholic people say this is the truth. And you can't organize that because it's always flowing. There's no pattern to it. It's like the wind. Just let it be, let it flow. Whatever it does, it's going to be good. But they create a path and try to manipulate people with words of it. Okay, this is the book. You can't program this movement of truth.
Can't
You
you
can't cultivate righteousness.
can't you see where we're wobbling in our own feces? Take that water for instance, right? The amount of it goes to a plant. Same water you piss and shit and it goes to a plant. They throw the amount of chlorine in it. They supposedly clean it, right? And send it back your way. And you're doing wallowing your own feces and shit all over again. Right? And we don't question these things, right? It's just like reading a book. We don't question these things. Do you know that when something is for you, right? Like say when you find the right book, and because everything is on a frequency. When you find the right book, like this book for instance, this Beyond Thought book, for me, like I have to force myself to put it down because the more I read, the more I want to continue. It's like it's speaking to me, right? And the way my mind works is like everything that it's saying, I am seeing it, right? It becomes real to me because I'm on that level, right? And we play along with discourse and disorder every single day, and we're good with it. And honestly, King, the more I go through this, and the more everything open up for me and the more I flow, I just get angry because I'm like, look at this. Like I'm seeing it and it's like I want to help, but it's like I can't help because it's not for me to help. It's for them to wake up and remove the cuss out their eye and say, you know what? I want to see this and I want to live this way. And that aggravates me because I can't save them.
Right. And that's why I wrote the book, because you can't save every raindrop. You can't punch every raindrop. If if rain messed up the if rain interfered with the plans of your day, you can't get angry and punch every raindrop, or the rain, or something rain on your parade, so to speak, or metaphorically, if the rain was, if you're going through some hard times, just let the storm pass,
You
because
can't
there's
even
no such thing as bad weather.
you can't even count the stars.
You can't. How can you approach to count something immeasurable?
See? And this is another thing I want to touch on too. And I feel like people, what you just said, I don't think you know how deep it resonates, and most people don't get it. See, we be trying to correct the issues that we're going through versus flowing with that issue, right? If your body is ripped open, you don't know when it heals. It heals. You clean it, but the cleaning doesn't control it. It cleans itself and it heals itself, right? So if you're having a shitty day, right, you can change your frequency, you can change your thought, but just flow with that day. Because if you try not to flow with that day, you know what's going to happen? You're going to keep attracting more shit over and over again. So everywhere you go, it's going to feel like somebody's attacking you consistently and just in a different form with a different face and a different attitude. It may be somebody in the parking lot that cuts you off. You know, maybe somebody that's cursing you out. It may be somebody at the cash register not ringing up whatever you're supposed to ring up when in the time frame that they're supposed to ring it up. So you're gonna be more pissed off. Just let it pass and flow with it and watch it correct itself. When we try to control it, that's when we create the disruption and make it problematic for ourselves.
Right. That's that negative energy that you can't let affect your positive energy. Positive energy is never static. Whatever drains our energy um, is negative energy, and it could be anything that's standing still. That's why thought interferes with silence, because silence seems like, because they in the book I say be still. It doesn't mean stand still or be lazy. Being still means being attend being attending the presence of the universe. You're moving with it. And the language of order is the movement of silence. It could be the movement of art. It could be the movement but whatever it is moving. Anything negative, anything that's static is in the way of something that's moving. That's why when people arguing, they both don't go anywhere. It just leads to more and more drainage till a fight happens and maybe even death. And that's where the stress is there. That's why there's only one disease is stress. And from that stress is negative energy. No matter what it is, from a headache to a toe ache to a backache to cancer, high blood pressure, it's stress. Even this disease that we're facing crisis now, this coronavirus, a virus is is a manifestation of stress. The earth and is oxygen. The earth is immeasurable, one with the universe and your inner being. That's why our inner health is alkaline. The earth is alkaline. It's impossible for the earth to create a virus. A virus comes from somebody created some negative energy that created something that drains energy. So any disease is curable. Any disease can be eliminated. It's like when a truck belches its backfire or belches the oxide from the engine into the air, or a train, or somebody blows smoke into the air from a cigarette. You see how it appears and then disappears in the alkaline oxygen. And
But
this is how we move.
with something so simple but yet so fascinating, right? Why we don't question that,
Because
but
that's
we
the
question the person that's bringing that's aiding, as taking action for us to see these
right,
things.
right,
Like you're breathing and you even forget that you were breathing. Like
yes,
you feel cool breeze on your skin and you can't tell me where the breeze is coming from. It gets hot
yes.
and you're like, oh, it's hot because of the sun alone. Is it really just the sun alone? Because
Now,
there's a sun beneath the earth as well, right? What does man call it? The earth's core.
yeah, I don't think you realize, Jermaine, how deep you're going, because you are asking a question and answering it. Because, like I said, in every problem,
I
the
do this a
solution
lot,
is
right?
in every problem.
This a
But look
lot.
at what you just said. See, when you take out the conditioning of a path, what's left? Order. And you see how all things fit in together in an alkaline way, on earth, in a spiritual way, inward inside your body, in your inner being. It's
But
moving with the universe.
look at this too. You 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 throw a seed. You're eating, and you throw a seed, and everything that that seed needs, the universe give it, right? You like, how the hell this tree grew from the seed? Now it's bearing fruit. The clouds water and marinate that seed. That seed, the soil, germinate that seed. The bees pollinates that. And it like it come on, bro. Like then when it gets cold, the leaves fall off this tree that came from the seed, right? And then spring comes around, and then the bees pollinates the tree, and then there's pretty much like leaves again, and the leaves turn green, and as it gets cold again, it slowly turns yellow, reddish color, and that tree for a time goes naked, right? To the eye, it's naked, but to the earth, that tree is fruitful. Things we take for granted.
But isn't that the action of righteousness?
It is. And then you go deeper and you look on that same tree. You have your ants that's crawling it up, that's getting food from it. And then you have your butterflies, you have your grasshoppers, you have your bird which lives in this tree. You got your squirrels that lives within these trees, the chipmunks and so on and so forth. You got the freaking the bear or whatever else, bobcats, whatever animal, the beaver that lives within these trees. Like, come on, King. Like,
Yes.
just look at it.
And when you look at it, you see you see the beauty of watching. You see the beauty of righteousness. You see the movement of the actual God, or supreme being. I call it the Holy Immeasurable, that's never static, that's continual, complete. It's complete action. You know, it's not like thought. Whatever thought creates, it has to create something else to maintain it. It's never complete. It's just like knowledge. It just is. Remember what you said earlier. You gotta, if you create the pipe, then you gotta create this, and you gotta create that. See, it's
Yeah,
never complete.
you need to
But any,
upgrade.
you always have to upgrade. Even knowledge has to be upgraded.
But look at
No matter what the circumstance,
but look
it's
at
never
this.
complete.
But look at this. The mountain has trees. Within the mountains, there's a river. Within the mountains, there are different species of animals. Home within the mountains. We see these mountains. These mountains sometimes cover us. It gives us shade. It gives us, it directs the breeze a certain way. There is food that's within these mountains, but there's no blueprint. A scientist can't explain to me how it grew the way it grew. And it can supposedly try to break down the different minerals like within the soil, but they still can't explain it. Just like the body, they tend to tell you that you're not perfect, which is a damn lie. We are perfect. Everything within mechanical aspects of life came from the human anatomy. The engine, your heart, get what I'm saying? Like there's certain parts of it, the radio, the sounds within it, your ears, your mouth. Like, come on. But yet they tell you you're not perfect, and we believe that shit.
Oh yeah, and that's where the conditioning comes in because they see the same thing that we see. Look, everybody sees the sun, everybody feels the warmth, everybody sees the moon, everybody sees the seasons change. They feel things. They look, every nobody's no smarter than anyone else. They see the same thing that everybody else sees. But the selfishness and the deception, they create a science with this deception and they create a path with it. And so now they start you off at a young age to with all of this knowledge. They get knowledge from this movement and they say, and then but they don't realize that they're letting thought control this because they don't realize they're unaware that thought is a controller. They don't see it until they whatever they invent be like, oh, I need to upgrade this. It's not complete action.
Put some oil in it. You need to go change your
Right.
oil in your engine.
Right. So when that so when the conflict, and see, this is an important point that I want to make in the book too. When the conflict comes after you start creating things out of thought and trying to control nature and the humanity and the universe, see, when the conflict comes, insecurity comes, more insecurity comes, and then man, they invent security now. Now it's something that's beyond an inanimate object. Now it's something spiritual. Now you want to join groups and clubs and gangs and secret societies and cults and institutions, and you want to do rituals and superstitions and join government, military, politics, and then you want to then you invent a world of make believe of royalty and kings and princes and you create all this division that's separating you from your fellow man now, and 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 it creates more, it just perpetuates,
but but
and
peep
then
this.
people start getting involved in that.
But peep this, right? The things that's being created, right? These so-called securities that we create, right? Why is it we can't take it with us when we no longer here? When our energy leave our dead flesh, why can't we take those securities with us? Why is it that we only take the information which is considered light? Like for those of you that study metaphysic and dang, I forgot the other terminology. But metaphysic, it's like we're here to collect information, right? And once your flesh is no longer, you carry that information over to the next dimension, right? Everybody, like we was talking about last night, everybody is talking about death, but nobody have experienced it. But everybody is afraid of it.
Yeah, because you get caught up. You get caught up. See, thought eventually, when you invent something and try to create a path to this righteous movement, eventually thought creates conflict with that. And so you can create some beautiful plumbing that can direct the river water to your house. But when you create a path, the universe doesn't work in path and straight lines and 90-degree angles. So the universe and nature and your body doesn't have straight lines or 90-degree angles, but plumbing has. And so that creates a conflict eventually. Now, no matter how good the idea is, eventually it creates conflict with the moving righteousness of nature.
Because
And
things
so,
rust, right?
yeah,
It
because
gets old, so you have
things
to you have to upgrade it. Yeah, you got to fix these things. You
things
got
that come up, things that come up because thought thinks is complete. When we invent things, we think it's complete. Okay, that's it. I don't have to worry about this anymore. No, that doesn't happen like that. That's not natural. And people say, well, where's this crime coming from? And all because you're dealing with the unnatural. You're dealing with it's like in the book I state because basically when you join these things that thought says is security, from religion to government to secret societies to rituals, people think this is security, but it's false security. Now it has its place, it polishes here and there, but it's false security. When it's false, it's false authority. All those military governments is false authority. And where there's false authority, there's false security. So, but people that follow that religiously, they don't know why they're in a rut and and the side effects of,
They know why. They
you
know
know,
why.
yeah,
They
they
just
know why.
choose. They just choose to out of sight, out of mind. Like it's not on my doorstep, so F it. But when it's on their doorstep, boy, oh boy, that's some shit. The world stops. Oh my god.
And and you've left what's natural. It's just look how the people reacting to coronavirus. It's the crisis, but they're panicking. You know, in righteous action, there's no panic. In
I,
righteous action, there's no selfishness,
I
and
do
people
you
are
one
running
better.
running over people.
I do you one better. Why do we revert back to things that we graduate from as a child, right? You came off the breast, you know, you sucked the milk, you drunk the milk from your mom's titties till you, age 5. You're now smarter. She has lost weight due to the correction of the body and the milk and substance and so on and so forth, right? Um, Within that moment, you were sucking on her breast, you were crawling, right? So now you're growing. You can't measure your growth, but you see it. So some people keep pictures, right? You were on your knees because your limbs wasn't firm enough for you to stand and walk. Now you start walking, right? And now you're an adult, but you go back on your fucking knees. You're back on your knees, praying to someone that somebody gave you versus praying to you. Like this book that they read says, you are a reflection. You are God, right? If you want to take it there, you are God, correct? So why not pray to you? And through loving you, you correct every imbalances around you. You don't lust for certain things. You don't lust for the world. You focus more on nature. You love and you gravitate more to nature, right? But it's like we go forward within that righteousness, and the older we get, we spiral backwards. It's like a Benjamin Button circumstance, but we don't see it. So we feel like everybody should walk and act like us, the what you call it, the egocentricity, and so on and so on and so on. We keep doing the same thing, but it's like your book is like a guide for the guide within us. But in order to get that food and that nourishment, you have to pick it up. I'm sorry, man. I'm segueing. I'm telling you, these things piss me off because I wish I can just and save whosoever, whenever, wherever, and however, but I cannot. I can only be a guide to that. And that's what I respect about you, because you're doing that through your plights and your mishaps. You have created something that is righteous and genius if you apply word to it from a judgmental standpoint.
Oh yeah, but and I appreciate you. Jermaine, you're my brother, and it's like this platform. When you told me what this platform was about, I was like, that's it. This is needed, and we do other things too, and anybody that's listening, Jermaine's gonna let you know how to join the platform at the end, of this session. But it, we don't. We It's just like when I was doing music regularly. You never know who you touch and how you touch them. Most people, Jermaine is telling me, and he appreciates me because he knows I appreciate him. But there's many people out there that don't say how you appreciate them, but they go on and take what they learn from your platform or just a gesture. You'd be surprised of a gesture that you make that'll change people because we're energy and we don't have to say it in words all the time. And that's why I say being yourself is telling the universe, okay, I'm I'm attending you. I'm listening to you. When you're not yourself and you're saying, I need to be like him, I need to be like what society says, you're telling the universe you didn't make me correctly. That's a violation. See, we're being collaborators with the violator who want us to follow a path, you know, and and in that, this is why people are in ruts and they don't know why. They like, I have my degrees, I have my house, my car, but I'm still in a rut. I'm eating correctly according to what my doctor says, but I still feel sick. They don't see the path. Where there's a path, there is a cause, and in that path it's like thought. It's never complete. That's why when you have a disease, when you have a problem, they follow a path. To every murder, there's a path. You don't want a path when it comes to inner peace and flowing and walking without hurt and depression. You don't want a path. Now, path has their place. You got to know your way back home. But that's it. Where there's a path, there's an idea and thought. But leave that in its place. Don't don't apply it to happiness and joy and the inner peace of life.
Since you're on that, I'm gonna quote something. And this is one of my favorite artists. His name is Bugle. It's Bugle, right? He has a song, and the words of that song says, "Don't blame life, blame the way how you live it." Right? And this is what it comes down to. Walk outside, look up in the sky. Just sit there and look up in the sky. And I guarantee, no matter how you try, you can't explain it. Like earlier I said, try to count the stars. Rich said it's immeasurable, therefore you can't count it, because as soon as you point one out, 20 might pop back up. It's too vast, it's too big, right? And the self tends to eliminate the connection with our other energies. We move as if we're the only one here. But if we were the only one here, we would hate it. We wouldn't survive. We'll go crazy. So, knowing this, why not attempt to connect with your brothers and your sisters? Why not attempt to correct whatever unbalance you have within your temple and make it righteous again? What do you have to lose besides your flesh? I dare
But
you.
the universe doesn't make mistakes. There is no such thing as zero in the universe, only in a path. Now, um, humanity has created words and and labels and science and all of these things. But if you watch the righteous doing and movement, the righteousness of nature and the universe and your inner being, something is going on beyond thought and words and science. There, if it wasn't for the universe, there'd be no science. If it wasn't for nature, there'd be no science. If it wasn't for nature, there'd be no math. If it wasn't for nature, there'd be no. If it wasn't for universe, nature, and your inner being, there would be no labels. There would be no education. Now we can apply and categorize things in this educational uh, realm or field, so to speak. But
Let's
there's a
call it a
field,
box.
yeah, that's what it is, and 290-degree angles that's not in the universe, your body or nature. This is why it always has to be upgraded. This is why it eventually is going to cause conflict, no matter what circumstance. So when people get caught up into this box, this is where all of your uh, ghettos come from, and your crime, and your bad diets, and the hope of the hopeless. And because in that hopelessness, they create religions, they create all these things because they're reaching out for security. This is why a kid joins a gang because I can't find no security at home. I can't find no security in school. I can't find no security in this religion stuff. So let me join a gang because we all have a broken homes and we all want to fight together. And the adult is no different. Well, let me join this secret society. Let me join this church. Let me join the Democrats. Let me join the Republicans. There's no difference.
but look, but look, everything you've been chasing and looking for is where? Right in front of you, within you. Peace, love, unconditional bliss, balance, source, light, darkness, conscious, unconscious. Everything is within you. Everything you see outside of you came from within you. So go back within you. The reason why there's so much distraction, because they're preventing you from going back to you.
Yes. And they're so far gone now, Jermaine. This is why people panicking in this crisis of this coronavirus spreading. It's just look, a virus is a virus, whether it's corona or swine flu or Ebola or influenza or common cold or disease. It a virus doesn't say, okay, it's 2020, let me go call myself corona and infect some people. It doesn't work that way. A virus is more or less not in, you can catch it from another cough or touching, but in nature and your spirit and the body's not designed to be sick. The body is perfection. The body is not a mistake because it's from the universe. So anything that the body has, if you cut yourself cutting this asparagus, the finger will heal and create a scab. If the body gets a virus, anything the body has can be eliminated through the natural movement of righteousness. But people are so far gone, they're conditioned from 4 years old to look outside themselves. So the last thing they're looking at what's the president going to say, what the government's saying, what is the governor saying, what is the mayor saying, what is my supervisor saying. We have all these bosses, and we're the boss of nothing.
If we're living to die and this is not our final destination, why are you scared?
there's no fear in the universe. It's no. If you watch the movement of nature, where's the fear? And when I say this publicly, they say, "Well, you see the deer, man, he runs, and the gazelle be running, scared from the lion." No, that's just an action of survival.
It's common sense.
It's common sense.
I'm gonna see a car and keep walking in it. Come
Oh
on.
no, that's fear. You see, they like to label things. No, you see danger and you react, right?
Yeah, like I'm gonna see the car and stand there and get hit by the car. Why am I gonna give up my essence before 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 it
Yeah.
actually decays righteously?
You must be aware of what's deception and what's not. I don't have children, but I tell the youth, be aware of what's deception and what's not. Be aware of where the voices inside of you are coming from. Is it coming from something you learned from a book, or you seen in a book, or you seen some, or somebody told you, or is it something that you feel and aware of? When you see awareness tells you that's deception and that's the truth. You you must be aware that the gazelle is aware of the danger and it runs, but deception says, you know what? I can show the people this and tell them this is fear and have them come to me and pay me and say, look, if you follow this, you won't fear. See, they'll put a path to it. They'll put that path to it. And then people don't know when you join that path is never complete because it comes from an idea. An idea comes from thought, and thought is never complete, and knowledge is never complete. So they in this perpetuation of problems.
But peep this. You know how people said you're educated, right? But
Yes,
if you
yes,
go look up the definition of education, it says that you never stop learning.
of course, because it's immeasurable.
So they feel like a degree makes them educated. It's just the words we use, man, and
Yeah.
we don't see the limitations within these things we
No, we don't
use.
see it. Why we don't see it, Jermaine? Because we get caught up in the deception. Okay, here's your cap and gown. Here's your trophy. Now you're a doctor. And those are inanimate objects that's dead already. I'm into things that's moving. I don't care about a trophy and a cap and gown and a plaque and a certificate. That's dead already. I'm into things that move. I'm into life.
But
I'm
look
not
at
into
this.
symbols.
But look at this. Who holds the value of these things? Yeah, you have that piece of paper with a stamp and a seal, but who's valuable? You are. You are the value. The resource comes from you. So we put energy into things that's motionless. Where everybody is rushing, but there's no race.
Yeah, they're rushing. They're seeking. They're seeking something that can't be found by seeking. That's the deception.
But
So they,
isn't that what doing drugs do? Like when you take drugs for the first time,
yeah,
why people keep going back to do it? Because that one high that they got before, they can't repeat it. So they keep chasing it till they're strung out, till they're no longer. But they will never get that high again.
right. So if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm doing the right thing, that action is complete. I don't need to go back and refine it. Thought has to. I don't need to go back for another degree. And this is
What
why
you
I tell, I
what you
don't
talking
need a
about,
new
Rich?
I don't need a New Testament. If I need a New Testament, that's saying that God, made a mistake the first time. If something is if God is God, whatever action he does is complete, right?
So why you gotta get an upgrade? You
Yeah.
upgraded from the old to the new.
I gotta get an upgrade now.
They wrote this book over 100 times, copyrighted over 100 times, and everybody's interpreting it. So it's like that's the upgrade.
That's the
But
upgrade.
but
That tells that
the
tells you
original never changes.
that tells you right there it comes from the thought of man. It comes from a thought.
But look, isn't it like a lie when you form a line, right? And Say you form a line, you have 10 girls in that line, right? And you tell the first girl, I love you, right? By the time it hits the ninth or the sixth girl, you think she gonna say, I love you? Or it's gonna change to something else?
Oh yeah, this is why people they debate scriptures. You know, they
Just food for
they
thought.
they debate scriptures.
You know, that's that's crazy. In every mean shape or way. It's crazy. And we're like a dog chasing our tails over and over and over again. Plain and simple. You know? Just go right in, Rich.
Yeah, and people debate scriptures. They you have one religion, you have Islam debating with Christians. You have Jehovah Witness debating with Jews. You have uh, whatever it is. Because once I join a side, people ask me, "Well, what is your religion?" And when I talk publicly, I talk for an hour, but I talk for 15 minutes and I open up for questions for the rest of the time. They say, "Well, what is your religion then?" I said, "If I claim to be a Christian, then I can't be in fellowship with the Muslim. If I claim to be a Jew, I can't have fellowship with the Arab. So I claim nothing. Now society is against nothing. They say, well, society says, we don't we work and we study so we won't be nothing. I said, but society is sick. I'm not a member of society. I'm when you're nothing, you're everything. When you're an empty cup, you're useful, you know, but there's a difference between I don't claim anything. See, it doesn't mean that I'm nothing. It doesn't mean that I'm zero. It means that I'm fellowship with all who can see. See, I'm fellowship with all. Because if I claim to be Islam, then the Jew is mad at me. If I claim, it's like I don't hold grudges. If you don't like me, that's fine. You have a right not to like me if you or not. But if you did something bad to me and I forgot about it, because the next time I see you, only one person gonna be angry.
And it's crazy because that particular or whosoever is going to make an attempt to bring back that anger. Like, yo, you don't know what happened. You're gonna act oblivious, but
Right, right,
not seeing the action that, hey, I've let it go. Can we start over? No, you're gonna act like you didn't. Now you're creating the conditions, the terms, and the
right.
contract and the confliction, and now you're gonna create somebody that's gonna be pissed and gonna say, "Fuck you," hang up my phone, click.
Yeah, and so look, if somebody wants to stay mad, it, it it's a terrible thing to try to convince somebody to make up with you. It's just as bad as trying to convince somebody to see what I see. That's the action of tyranny. And you flow, and this flowing is being still because there's no panic there. There's no hurt and depression. There's no stress. There's no pressure. Whenever pressure comes up, you're not flowing anymore. So you want to be very careful not to live under stress and pressure. You must be very careful with that because stress and pressure creates conflict and complications that will make the most beautiful person ugly, that will make the one that's aware unaware.
Unless you're the universe, you make diamonds.
Yeah, and people say, well, and that's another, what's the it, check it out. That's a beautiful thing you just said. But look at the deception now. Look at how
Oh man.
look at look at the deception of how they put that together. And I do say how in terms of path and method because they say a diamond can't be created without pressure and stress. I said, hey, whatever the universe does is good. Now, you say the diamond is great, but there are people in Africa that's been dancing over diamonds and they kick diamonds like we kick rocks in the USA. But some Jewish person or some person over there says, oh, this is a diamond and we can do this, that, or the other with it. See, look, to the person who's born with those diamonds, they know that diamond is useful just as much as the pressure that created it.
They're one actually.
They're one.
They're one actually. But if you're not used to anything, you're gonna try to get it and define it. You're gonna try to make something out of it. You're gonna try to make a profit. You're gonna try to make it worth something, put a value on it when the value is what? Immeasurable, right?
The value is immeasurable. And they say, right, well, you don't understand, Rich. You're looking at it the wrong way. I say, well, look at it. I say, well, look at it this way. What's the most precious thing? If the diamond is so precious, what is the most precious? Is there anything more precious than that? Oh, my kids and this and that. Okay. Well, it's people that's killing their kids for diamonds. This is why you don't want to get caught up in this diamond thing and this wealth thing and this that diamonds is wealth.
It's not even
See,
just diamonds. You take the actual black mineral that's utilized in the cell phone. Kids are dying over that.
this is why you don't want to get caught up in the deception. This is what my book is saying. See the difference in deception and illusion. You must see the difference in that because deception is very sly because all deception begins with thought. The experiences that thought has, and
But
it can be
wait,
very deceptive.
tell them don't get it confused too, because you need thought to question these things. You need it to question these things so you can see beyond the surface, right? You got to
Well,
go deeper. So
yeah,
you go
but
beyond the thought and fill it with your heart.
yeah. See, the awareness must be. See, negative energy doesn't take a day off. Negative energy, you know, happens all by itself. You don't need to help it. So if you keep thought in its place, you won't help negative energy. Thought, you can't be hurt and depressed unless thought is out of place. You know,
I had a question. Why is it so difficult to remain still? Like if you're driving if you're driving to work, why is it not for me? I'm just saying overall, like I witness people. Like, why is it so difficult for you to be in silence for 30 minutes?
it's the same. It's because to answer that question, it's the same difficulty to meditate without thought, to pay attention beyond thought, because thought is a controller. It's hard to be silent without thought and sound. As I'm talking, there's cars going by, and you hear all of the noise of machinery, and and the incomplete activity of seeking. You know, but in meditation and in silence, you hear the complete action of sound, which is the birds and the crickets and the grasshopper and the breeze in the trees, you know, and the all of this has sound because where there's movement, there's contact, and where there's contact, there's sound. But the complete sound that heals is the trees, the crickets, the birds, you know. But the incomplete sound of machinery, how can you be silent when you got all this noise going on? Helicopters, planes, and trains, and people arguing, all the chaos and disorder, and the rubber against the road, and the people screaming, and whatever thought creates, thought can't create anything alive, so it has to create something to make it move, and that creates noise.
But those noises are not. the noise that you need. It's not your 369. It's not your 428. It's not your
Oh no,
528.
no.
It's not the noise that resonate with you. It's not the jazz. It's not the Michael Jackson. It's not the Jimi Hendrix. It's not, like they've changed the frequency to like 400. So it's no longer resonating with you. Your cells are not jumping. When was the last time you can say you listen to a modern day artist and get goosebumps,
Right.
or your heart just feels like you're in love? Like, did you hear that Gladys Knight? Did you hear that Stevie Wonder? Did you hear that Michael? Like, it just makes you want to move. Like, did you hear that ska, that reggae, that Afro beat? Like, it just makes you want to move, man. Like, you can't even explain it. You just want to dance.
And that's what James Brown did. That's what when everybody witnessed a Bob Marley concert, even artists like James Brown and the artists, great songwriters like the Eagles, it changed them, you know. And that's what Maurice White did with Earth, Wind and Fire. He's seen music as a holistic vibration for a positive thing, you know. And it's where gospel music went wrong when where gospel music is great music too, but that's where any music goes wrong. They take away the spirit of that music and start put too much thought into it and paths to it. But Bob Marley was tribal, and James Brown and Maurice White, these people knew the vibration.
Prince and all that.
Yeah, but see, Prince was influenced by the James Brownses and all the rest of
Yeah.
them also.
Yeah, but
You know,
the government actually changed. That there's a law in place that changed the actual frequency of music because they knew that it did something to you on a righteous level.
oh yeah, they make it. This is why they created the carrot, right? They do it in food. They do it in anything that's a good vibration. They try. That's the deception. I'm
What is it
talking
that they
about.
know that you don't?
Exactly. They see people coming together righteously. This is the movement of righteousness. When you hear Sly Stone, this is the movement of righteousness in music form. You know,
Michael,
when you we started this conversation with the diamond. When you see the pressure, that's not pressure. That is the movement of righteousness and nature, which is just as important as the diamond. It is just as important. Like Sly Stone is just as important as Maurice White, and Louis Armstrong is just as important as Duke Ellington. And Nat
or
King Cole.
not King Cole. Stay out of my head, man. I was just about to say that name.
you
Frequency is
know and we,
amazing.
we hear voices, and sounds and instruments all the time, but when you hear Aretha Franklin, when you hear Shaka Khan,
Earth,
oh
Wind,
my
and
God,
Fire.
Earth, Wind and Fire, when you hear John Lennon, when you hear
Jimmy
Stevie Nicks,
Cliff.
we could go on and on.
Peter Touch, Barrington Levy, all these guys, Barris Hammond, all these guys, man, like, you know, Steel Pulse, like, yeah, I'm young, but I'm not that. I have an old ass soul. I've been here before.
But when you hear the Bob Marley and the James Brown and the Chaka Khan, you see something you see, feel, and hear something beyond thought. When you watch Michael Jackson move, he's not. There's thousands of millions of dancers out there, but when you see Michael Jackson, see when Michael Jackson danced and you hear a beat, he became the beat.
It's
When you hear the
captivating.
strings, he became the strings. You know, and a person doesn't necessarily have to know how to dance. When you've seen Tina Turner move,
Giving me goosebumps, King. My hands is standing
when you
up.
see this,
Like,
man, this was, I
oh
mean,
man.
it's a beautiful thing. But this is all the movement of righteousness in that form. A diamond is the righteousness in that form. The making of the diamond is righteousness. The movement of the earth. This is things we have to move with, things that's alive.
But they kill righteousness. They aim to control it. So whenever they control it, you don't get it. or you don't see it. You stay within the debt zone that they have created because they know you being righteous is problematic for them. Therefore, their power dwindles, it dies, and you're reborn into your former glory and your true self. And then you start flowing with the path instead of trying to create or follow their path. I'm saying this so you can over and understand it because Rich knows certain words is out of the equation, especially that word path. He don't like it.
Nah, I don't. There's enough paths out there. Every path is conflictual. I don't care what it is. I don't care how clean that road is. And then one day you're driving down that road, that way, that path. It says, "Oh, under construction," right?
But peep this. Have you ever turned to Google Map and turn your GPS on and on your phone and driving your car and still end up lost?
Right, right.
And then you be like, you know what? I'm grateful that I was lost because I wouldn't have bumped into this beautiful thing, whatever it is. See how the universe works?
Yeah, because the universe is your heart. Your heart is your heart is always, showing you order. So
How
your
you get
heart is always showing you order.
how you get lost using a GPS?
You know, they want.
That shows you the GPS is not even accurate within itself.
That's why I say anything thought. Check this out. This is a big statement, but it's so true and it's so comical.
I'm sorry. Cheers.
but it's but it's just that comical. You know how you get lost the GPS, right?
You're in control, right?
Yeah. Well, how does the cop get mugged?
Oh man.
Hey, how does God say, "Hey, I didn't finish it. Here's the New Testament."
You finish it. And then they water down the original copy is hard. It's rough, like the universe, right? It's in its purest form, right? And then when you get the new one, turn the other cheek. Oh, it was eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth in the old, but now they want you to turn the other cheek. Like, oh, we can't have them thinking an eye for an eye because once I whip him with the whip, he going to fight back. So no, we're going to tell him to turn the cheek. So he's going to suffer gracefully. I'm cleaning his teeth, but I'm hurting him. Oh, something that was made perfect. Oh, you got to cut it out. Why do you need your tonsils? You don't need your tonsils to survive. Oh, why do you need your kidneys? You need a transplant. Oh, cut the foreskin off your penis. Oh, you don't need that. You don't need this. When everything has its place in righteousness, in righteous order. But
Your
man will tell you otherwise.
universe don't make mistakes. Why are you cutting on a baby? Why are you taking the baby off the breast? The universe didn't make a mistake.
Why you putting that woman on her back to fight against gravity to give birth as if it's not going to traumatize her body and traumatize the child? That's why the kid come out with shit wrapped around its neck. And why you cutting that damn string? That string's supposed to stay on that baby so that baby can get all that nourishment and all that righteous substance and it falls off naturally by itself. But no, you rather take it, right? Because it has so much potency and so much healing within it, you need it for yourself. So you stem cell research, and this is for the embedment of human beings and ray. What's the point of you operating on me when I'm gonna die any fucking way? Answer me that.
Exactly. And this is why you we must know, we must see the deception and the awareness, the difference between awareness and deception. We
Chemotherapy, Rich. You need chemo, Rich.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna kill all your defense mechanisms so you're gonna die. So therefore your body can't fight back what it needs to fight back against. but there's a chance you might survive. You're getting radiated at a certain level. It's okay. You're gonna lose your hair. It will grow back. The fuck out of here.
This is why you got to see the deception and what's deception and what's the truth. In that deception, you got illusion and words and language and science and math and all these things. All those things have their place, but in the truth, in the action of righteousness, when you, I mean, is when you see the spring come,
Which is
it comes all by itself.
which is the beginning of a new year. You have 4 seasons for a reason. Y'all following, oh, January is the new year. How can it be a new year when there's death still within the air? There's no tree, there's no leaves on the trees. When does the leaves come back on the trees? In springtime, when does spring begins? So why is it that spring is not the new year? But they're telling you January is the new year. They're counting down, knowing it's not the fucking new year. Yo, you getting
Uh,
me heated, Rich. Like on this one,
and, yeah,
I'm getting hot. I don't know what it is. All this water I'm drinking, or maybe it's the black. Like
energy, man. That's that passion. Passionate about it.
I'm getting hot over here.
Look, you get passionate about it because you see this energy, man. You see this deception. If you care about the world, it's only natural to get heated, right? If
Michael
you,
was telling us, right? They really
yeah,
don't care about us. He was showing
and
us too who we were, but we didn't believe him when he
I'm
had
gonna.
Eddie Murphy
Oh,
in that
oh
in
yeah.
Egypt and the. Do you remember? Like he was giving it to you in these movies, these short movies that he was creating, but we failed to see him. Come on, man.
And you're
This
passionate because I'm not a father. You're a father. Your boys got to grow up in this world, right?
man, and I'm telling every. This is a public service announcement. Anybody that aim to bring forth harm to them have to disintegrate me from this plane. I'm telling y'all, it ain't gonna be no turn the other cheek, no nothing. You're gonna see me, and I'm coming for blood. That eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, all that passive bullshit. No, that ain't gonna work with me. A life for a life, plain and simple. Play with
Right,
minds.
right. So when you look at nature and you see the hyena come up and you see the lioness that's got cubs in the den, what does she do to that hyena?
It's protection. She senses it before he gets there because she know why he's there. So therefore, she's gonna protect what's hers, as in everybody else should protect what's theirs. But they're so destructive, destroying their being. They're not knowing that that child is a part of them. That's just a smaller version of you. That's you. That's the same energy. That energy is connected to you. If I feel a certain way, my wife's gonna call me and tell me what's going on. She's gonna act like, yo, what's going on with you? Your kids are not acting right. Jatem just felt you. He said there's something wrong with you. So like this is true. When she was carrying him, King, I was going through all of that pain and all of that shit. I gained the weight. We're all connected through that energy. So why take that energy for granted? Man.
And look, you see the hyena come up, right? The lion says, I got four cubs in the den, and the lioness kills the hyena. Now, the same man, Jermaine, killed somebody over trying to kidnap his sons. And anybody that's listening, we have another crisis going on. Kids are disappearing, children are disappearing. And
Organs are missing.
yes, and
Our
organ
women are missing.
there is so much going on that's seen and not seen. And so you see Jermaine kill that person, but he didn't have to kill them like that. You know, he all he had to do was snatch his boys. That's what are we talking about today, Jermaine? That is the action of righteousness. That is righteous action. You feel me?
But look at this. If the role was reversed and they end up killing me, right? Then what they gonna say? It's sad, right? You know what I'm saying? See, this world is so fucked up and sick that everybody will say a prayer for you, right? They'll they will send you. Let me correct that. They will send you prayer hands on a phone. You ever seen the emoji like this,
Oh yeah,
Rich?
yeah.
They will send you prayer hands, but won't go on their knees and pray for you in real life.
But you can't count on human friend. This is why I don't pray. I don't follow belief.
I'm just saying. I just want you to see
Right, right.
that. I
Yeah,
just want you to see that.
yeah. But we see it every day, and I this is why I don't pray. I meditate. I don't follow belief at all. I see what's actually going on. If you watch what's actually going on, you see the order of movement of righteousness. You're you're not in conflict with the present now. The present now is undivided. But when I divide the now, trying to eliminate, trying to avoid a mistake I made in the past and trying to approximate the future, see, I need belief for that. So if I follow belief, that's not righteous action because righteous action is in the undivided now. Righteous action doesn't escape from what's happening now. If I'm in belief and prayer, that means I'm unaware of what's going on. I'm aware of what's going on. I don't need belief and prayer. Either I know or I don't know.
Wasn't that hyena trying to prey on that lion's cubs?
Yes,
It wasn't that fox preying on that chicken, huh? Be careful with words. What do I know?
exactly. And you have to look at it and be like, no, I'm not following. I'm not looking at how. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm
I'm
not trying to
doing.
do. Yes, thank you.
I'm
I'm not
doing.
trying. Forget about it.
Oh man, I'm
I'm not
doing it.
trying. I'm not looking at how.
I'm
I'm not
doing it.
looking at. I'm not looking at hope. I'm not looking at faith. I'm not looking at belief. I'm not looking at a path or a way. I see what's righteous now. That is the action of righteousness means you see it and you are doing. If I'm in belief and prayer, that's not the action of righteousness. That's the action of fear.
Do you believe it? Oh no.
I don't have you don't have to believe your son is precious. You see it.
What Bob said? What Bob said? If you were smart, you would get your heaven on earth, right? Why would he say that? Why would he say that?
If I'm hoping, if I'm praying, that means I'm not secure right now. Right?
But these things you will never obtain them because it's like you're reaching for something you will never reach. Trying, right? Hoping and this mediocrity. To say you want something is to never get it. You're gonna keep wanting it. You're just gonna keep seeing it over and over. But to do it is to do it. That's why the knowing is more profound than these actual words. Like people will come and give you their opinion and say certain things, and I'm like, yo, I know, right?
If I'm righteous, Jermaine, that means I'm in order. That means I am flowing. That means I am the action of righteousness. In the action of righteousness, I am positive energy. And where in energy there is life, action, and doing. I'm not hoping and believing and seeking.
Well, look at this. You ever wanna mess somebody's mind up? When they come and they tell you any bullshit, right? Just ask them. I know you don't like to use how, but just ask them, how do you know? And watch them pause and think about it and try to give you an answer. They don't know,
Hey,
but they
but look
don't.
at but look at this one. Look at this one, Jermaine. When I speak publicly, if I'm talking about diet, and I say, the body's not designed to be sick. I eliminated my disease, and they say, well, That's not necessarily true that the body's not designed to be sick because, I read before I said, you said you read. That means you don't know. And so said, no, that means you don't see it.
Oh man, so
But the
insane.
but the research shows that means you don't see it. I don't have to refer to research. I don't have to refer to some professor. I live it. I do it. So when somebody says research and says this and scientific says this, that means you don't see it. That's what that's saying. But you don't see it.
Hey, Rich, let's go ahead and tell them how they can obtain a copy of your book and what you do, how you do it, when you do it, why you do it, where you do it.
Well, I say why I do it. I do it because I am the world, and you are the world.
Whoa,
And
that sounds like a Michael song. We are the what? Nah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and that's what. But look, if you're speaking the truth, if you're speaking the truth, you're not speaking anything new. Everybody is doing their form of the truth. It is we you don't nobody owns the truth. And so if you like what you hear and if you want to see uh, some more of the book, um, you can you can email me. No, you can Google Rich Lamar Beyond Thought by Rich Lamar, and you can purchase the book from Amazon. It's a $20 book, or you can email me at richlamar18 at yahoo.com, RICHLAMAR 18 at yahoo.com. The book is $10. I work with PayPal and other means. You can read it on your cell phone or be a Kindle version for you. You can read it like a Kindle version, and I can email it to you. And the name of my business is the No Stress Life. And because where there's stress, stress is the root of all problems. And so the reason why I wrote the book is so people to try to help people live less stressfully. We can't avoid stress. It's like fear and pressure, but not let stress control us. And so this is why I do lectures and help people with diet and talk to people who's depressed to to help them relieve their stress. It's not a book of how and trying and a path or a way. It's a book of looking and seeing the difference between deception and truth. Or you can call me at 702-610-0687 if you're having a depression issue or health issue, if you want to inquire more about the book. Or check me out here at MEN-talRollaDeK, and Jermaine will tell you more about that.
For those of you that actually want to inquire about our lives and participate within our lives, or you know someone that you would want to recommend for me to interview upon this platform, you can actually send me a friend request at King Jermaine, um, and send me a DM, inbox me, inbox me, inquire about it, and I give you all the information you know. Also, you can follow me at IG, at MEN-talRollaDeK. You can go and subscribe on YouTube at MEN-talRollaDeK. You can follow me on Twitter at MEN-talRollaDeK, and also, I think I'm forgetting some, but um, another time we do these lives every Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes we'll do like two back to back. It's always about teaching and passing forth information and learning without the dictatorship and trying to stuff it down your throat. It's just natural organic conversations within a calm and selective settings. And with that being stated, I would say gratitude to all. Gratitude to Rich. This is the end of number 7, and we'll see you next week. Love is love and
Yeah, positive
peace.
energy. Positive energy out.